Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Turning Point Podcast, episode number 20. I'm one of your hosts, Lara, and I am joined here once again by Lewin. How are we doing, my friend?
I'm doing good today. How about yourself?
I'm good. I've just finished watching Solo, a Star Wars story, now, like about, an hour or so ago. I got up early this morning, Lewin, to watch that.
Understandable.
Because we record in the mornings, and I was like, fuck, I haven't watched this film yet. So I got up at 7 a.m., made myself a coffee, and sat down and watched it. I didn't go to bed until like 1:30, so, I'm a little bit tired now, but that's all right. That's just how it be sometimes.
That do be how it be.
Yeah, but how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm also tired. Didn't go to sleep till like 4.
What are you doing?
Playing Resident Evil 4. That game comes out in like a few days, whenever it comes out. That's like...
I think it's like May 7th. So yeah, it's like later in the
few
week.
Days. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to finish this off.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I just want to say, happy Star Wars Day.
Happy Star Wars Day.
Yep, it's exciting time of year, Star Wars Day, usually because something Star Wars related is coming out, and this year it's the Bad Batch. That starts today, so looking forward to doing that. We'll probably cover that in a future episode of the podcast, maybe.
Probably wait for the season to clear through first.
Yeah, probably. But that's exciting. Yeah, so this episode this is our, I guess, second Star Wars Day episode. It's becoming a thing. This is I guess it's like our first like annual Star Wars Day episode, because like we did one last year.
First annual episode.
Yeah, like we did one last year. We did the Mandalorian last year, but that was just kind of like, it's Star Wars Day, we'll just do the Mandalorian, we'll catch up on that, because that was the plan anyway. And this year we're like, well, what are we going to do this Star Wars Day? And like, we can't talk about Bad Batch because that's coming out today, so
it's later
like,
tonight, what are we gonna probably 6.
Yeah, what are we going to talk about? And then we're like, well, I don't know, we'll just come up with some Star Wars topic. So we decided, we're like, what can we talk about? And we thought, after the miserable experience, the miserable experience for you of watching Justice League, I thought I'll force you to watch another film, and I'll force you to watch Solo, a Star Wars story this time, but it's a bit of a better one, so
Yes. Yeah, I don't have irreparable suffering after Solo.
I'll tell you what though, the Justice League episode we just uploaded a couple of weeks back, that's a good episode. I quite enjoyed doing that episode. That was a lot of fun, and it turned out really well. So if you haven't all checked that out, go and check that one out. And as always, if you do enjoy what you're seeing or listening to here, then make sure you leave a positive rating over on podcast platforms. We're up on Google and Apple Podcasts now, so you can leave positive ratings and things like that over there, and of course Spotify. And if you're watching this on YouTube, on one of the rare occasions where we have the episode up going on the same day because it's Star Wars Day, and it just doesn't make sense to upload a Star Wars Day episode a week later. Then if you are watching this, happy Star Wars Day, and make sure you leave a like and subscribe for more podcasts. My Resident Evil 3 video just came out, so go check that out. So Lewin, what have you been up to lately? What have you been doing? It's been a couple of weeks.
Well,
doing anything interesting?
As said, with Resident Evil coming out in a few days.
Yep.
Pretty much like April, the opening of May has been completely dominated by Resident Evil 4. I have cleared through every other Resident Evil game. It's just RE4 left. Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. So you're almost there.
So
you're just playing like all the mainline games, or?
Yeah. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. Sweet. Oh, that's exciting. I'm pretty excited for Village. I'm looking forward to it. It's coming out.
As am I. It looks very good. I got to play the 2 demos back in the end of last month.
Yeah.
Those were actually pretty good. Very atmospheric, and also werewolves are fucking terrifying.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yep.
I don't know how quickly I'm going to be able to get through it, but hopefully if I can get through it quickly, we can either do an episode on it at the end of this month or do one at the start of next month. I think that'd be pretty good, hopefully, if I can get through it quick enough.
I'm sure to rush through it.
Yeah, because I remember last time we had to kind of delay the Resident Evil 3 review because I hadn't played it because I was still playing fucking 2 at the time. Anything else you've been up to? Anything interesting going on? Or has that kind of just been Resident Evil consuming your life recently?
Well, yeah, it's been Resident Evil, and obviously the topic of today also has done its fair share.
Yeah, for that couple of hours that it runs.
Oh no, it's more than the couple hours, more than just Solar.
Just Star Wars in general.
Just Star Wars in general.
Yeah.
I'm still reading Star Wars Thrawn.
How's that going?
It's going good. I really enjoy that book, actually. I don't know what he's like in any other media.
Yeah.
But if
so you haven't because you were saying before that you need to finish Rebels, so you haven't had him turn up in Rebels yet?
Nope.
You haven't got to that point? Okay.
Still on season 2.
Turns up in Rebels.
Yeah, I had to look up
rumored to be the I mean, not rumored because they kind of set it up, but the rumor is that Benedict Cumberbatch is going to be playing him, or at least that's the fan casting. I don't know if it's a rumor or fan casting.
I think Benedict actually said he didn't want to do that.
Nah, he's a busy boy, you know. Do you know what he did say though? He was like, I don't want to. He did say that he would be happy to return to do another season of Sherlock. So, you know.
God. Do we need a season 5?
Yeah, do we? That's the real question, isn't it? Do we need one? But also, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine.
Like, it's always just fun to watch. Just
make it like season 1 and 2 Sherlock, where it's not all about Sherlock and all over the top and ridiculous. And I'll be happy. I'll watch it.
Please, Moffat.
Yeah, please, Moffat.
Don't do it.
Nah, Moffat will do like a Sherlock Dracula crossover or some bullshit.
You know he will.
Yeah, he will. He will. Moffat. That's the thing. Like, you think we're joking? No, he will 100% do that. Both him and Mark
all saw Doctor Who with the Snowmen.
Yeah.
He went Sherlock Holmes in that.
Yeah, he was like, I can't put Sherlock Holmes. I can't do a Sherlock crossover, but I'm just gonna do a Sherlocky thing anyway.
I gotta say, I did love that one bit of musical score that Murray Gold did do in that one moment where he completely riffed off the Sherlock theme for that one scene.
Did you end up getting the book for the Time Lord Victorious?
Oh,
you know the one you said you were waiting on like 2 months ago?
Yes. Yeah, that finally shown up. I ended up cancelling both my Amazon orders because I accidentally double ordered the book, and I was like to my friend, yeah, I'll give you a copy. And so I promised him that, so I had to order 2 copies anyway. Yeah. So I just cancelled the Amazon orders because they were fucking me around, and went through Booktopia. Huzzah, it arrived within a week.
Yeah, okay, right. Oh, that's
so
good.
Yeah, I've read the first one. It's pretty good.
So you haven't gotten through the second one yet?
No, I'm still working through the second one because I need to listen to the audio story that's like in between, like one of the chapters.
Yeah, right.
The Minds of Magnox, very good. One day we may talk about this.
Yeah, maybe. That's what I was asking about because I'm like, I don't know where we're gonna fit it in now, but we'll see what happens.
I'll probably just finish it off and chuck it in the catch-up segment.
Yeah, we can probably just do that because we've already talked about like some of it, so we'll go from there. And I feel like there's not like a lot of stuff that I really care. I'm just waiting for them to announce that fucking release date for the new game. Like, just hurry up and do it so I can play it.
Yeah,
because I never got to play the VR one, so I want to play the remade version so I can actually experience that. Because I was like, I could just watch a walkthrough, but then I'm like, it's like a VR walkthrough, and I don't like VR walkthroughs.
Yeah, they're always weird.
So I'm like, I'll just wait until the new game comes out, the Edge of Reality, and I'll just play that.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Yeah, I have been I've been doing a couple of things. I've been catching up on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Very nice.
So I'm watching the last season that came
Very
out.
nice.
Because that's on Netflix now. I've noticed the lighting in that show is different this season. I don't know if is this the season that was moved to a new network? Is it season 6 or season 7? I don't even know what I'm watching.
Season 6 and 7 were both on the new network.
Okay, so I must be watching season 7, but I don't know. I've noticed there's like lighting differences this season than there was the previous one. Like there's a lot of, it's like one of those things where like, you know, they'll have the blinds up against the window and then they'll have like the sunlight shining through and you can see like the shadows of the blinds in the background. Where before Brooklyn Nine-Nine was using that very, in the precinct was using just very standard sitcom lighting setups.
Yeah.
So it actually looks really good now. It threw me off a bit at first because I was like, why does this just looks different? It looks better, but it's weird. You know, it's like when sitcoms change, it's like that same thing happened with Community when I watched season 6 of Community. I was like, why the fuck are there like shadows and you know, like the room they have in the Community where they sit at the table. I was like, why the fuck are there like shadows and shit everywhere? Like, what's going on? You know, it just looks weird. But yeah, I've been quite enjoying that. I'm actually enjoying this season. It's pretty good.
I find season 7 is a step up from season 6.
I'm really enjoying Holt and not being captain. That's pretty funny. And that other new character that they introduced and then like fucking steals cocaine.
Oh, Kelly. I think her name was Kelly.
Yeah. She's like a brand new character that's like in like, she's introduced in like one random episode and then like 2 episodes later she's stealing cocaine for some reason. I've been playing a little bit of what have I been doing? Yeah, I've been playing a little bit of No Man's Sky actually.
The game that is good now apparently.
Like I enjoyed it when it like first came out, but it wasn't like a game I'd like, I'm not gonna like play this all the time. Like, you know, it's like a good chill out game.
Yeah.
But now I'm back into it, and it's kind of the same deal, but now I can play with friends. So I've got a little save with a couple of mates, and we've just gone through the tutorial again, and you know, but so I played all in third person now, and the base building is completely different. It's so much better, and the planets look better now too. Like they don't look like fucking barren wastelands like they were before. It's really good. The game looks great. It's got a photo mode, so you know I love that kind of shit.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I'm quite enjoying it. I don't play it like often, but my plan is to do like a kind of 5-year later, not like a retrospective, but more like, because I used to have a heap of No Man's Sky footage because I was gonna make a video on it back fucking years ago. And then I never ended up making the video, so I just deleted the footage. And I kind of wish I kept it because I could have done some like comparison stuff. But I am gonna do like a I'm gonna do like some kind of, I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but it'll be kind of like a 5 years later type thing. And
yeah,
I've been enjoying playing that. That's been a bit of fun. And I've also been playing Injustice 2. Kind of picked that up again recently. I got it on Game Pass.
Yeah.
It's a good game, man. It's a good game.
I've only played the first one, and I haven't played any of the story of the second one. I've just played the second one.
Well, I played through the campaign back when it came out. I think like 2017 now, maybe it was, or 2018, one of the two. I played through the campaign, and I played a lot of like I never played online or anything. I don't like fighting games. Mainly because I suck at them, but like it's just not my thing. But I enjoy Injustice mainly because it's like the characters and DC and things that I like. But yeah, I'm playing through the campaign again. Actually, I started that because obviously my save files was on PS4 before, where now I'm on PC, so I need to start the game, play through that again, so I can level up the characters and stuff. And yeah, it's been good. I forgot how good the story was. So, I'm really enjoying that. I've played through like the first few chapters of the story, so it's a lot of, you know, I've done a lot of like Batman fighting stuff, and then the second chapter is Harley Quinn, and you fight like a few different characters in that, and then it's Green Arrow or Dinah Lance. And you kind of switch between them. So I did that, and then I've only played the first 3 chapters, but I've just defeated Gorilla Grodd, and then Brainiac's kind of been revealed as like the big bad. And Yeah, I'm excited to play more of that though because I really do enjoy. I do enjoy that game. It's a lot of fun.
The story. I remember getting up to that part.
Yeah, the first few chapters.
Yeah, I think I played through the first few chapters.
Yeah, I really love. I will say the Joker design in this game is still shit. It looked shit back then. It still looks shit now. I'm really kind of disappointed with the Joker design, and I actually like the designs of all of these characters all round. But yeah, I don't know. The Joker just looks shit. I hate it so
a more
much.
iconic duo: the Joker and dropping the ball on design.
Yeah. But I do like how the whole, Injustice universe is like this big role reversal of things. Like in Injustice 2, like obviously like Superman's like a bad guy in this, and like in Injustice 2 there's more like that common goal of stopping Brainiac. But I love how Harley Quinn like works with Batman now, and Harley Quinn's friends with like Dinah Lance, like they're like friends and shit.
Yeah.
I like that kind of stuff. It's cool, and I like Harley Quinn's like still Harley Quinn, like she's still the same character, but instead of just being all about the Joker, she's just her own character. And I do like though the little touch that because she's like Team Batman now, she also has like the standard Harley Quinn diamonds, but then the diamonds are like inside the bat symbol on her jacket. So she's like a part of the Bat family in this, which I quite like. I thought that's a cool little like change. I've never read any of like the Injustice comics and stuff, but I know the Justice comics are apparently pretty good. So
I have heard that. I've also not read them.
Yeah, I might get back to it, but like I really like Injustice, like just the universe, like that version of the universe. Like I was saying it in the last Justice League episode. Like I like it when we go for like darker timelines and just like fucking go crazy with wild shit.
Yeah.
Like Marvel do that occasionally, but like DC are really the ones to really play into that whole multiverse concept.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm enjoying that. So I'm definitely going to continue playing that. Obviously, that's probably going to go on the back burner a little bit now with Resident Evil coming out in a few days. But yeah, I'm planning on finishing that soon. I may do a video about it. Who knows?
Hey.
But yeah, other than that, I haven't really been doing much. I've been playing, kind of revisiting a few older games. And one of those older games fits into what we're going to talk about next, which is Star Wars video games. So I thought before we talk about Solo, we could just talk a little bit about some Star Wars video games, because we never really, I guess, dived into video games here for Star Wars here on the podcast.
No, we always do the TV stuff.
Yeah, we always do like the TV stuff. We haven't even talked about like the main films themselves. Like today's the first Star Wars film we're really talking about. But
next year you'll get Rogue One. Year after that you'll get whatever.
We're not doing Rogue One. I'm not doing it. I'm not fucking doing it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe enough time would have passed for me to watch Rogue One again, I think. We'll see what happens.
We will talk exclusively about the hallway scene.
Yeah, let's just talk about like the last, like that'll be the whole podcast. We just like break down and dissect the last like 5 minutes.
At the 0.5 second here, you can see the fear in this man's eyes.
Yeah. So I want to talk about Star Wars games. Not really so much the modern ones, because the only modern Star Wars game I really play is Battlefront 2. Like I still haven't finished Jedi Fallen Order, haven't touched that for 2 years, and
which is a shame,
Lego
that's
Star
a
Wars
solid
is
game.
not coming out anytime soon, so there's not really anything to talk about now. So I thought we'd
I
go
was
talk
so
about
banking on that being today.
Yeah, same, exactly. Like that because they said it was going to come out in that like first
quarter
part of the year.
I was like,
like it just makes sense, May the 4th, but no, I guess not. They never announced a release date, so maybe they were aiming for May 4th and just realized
it wasn't feasible. Which is a shame, but when it does come out, I look forward to it.
I am looking forward, but I think it's because I think they're just adding more shit to it, I think.
Well, when Star Wars is now growing at a far larger rate than it ever has before.
Yeah, I can't wait for the next Lego game, Star Wars game, in a couple of years' time, which is just going to focus on like season 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian, and like season 1 to 3 of Mandalorian, and like Book of Boba Fett and all of that shit. I reckon they should do that. That'd be fun. We've done the Skywalker saga now. They could just do that.
I wouldn't mind more Lego spin-off ideas.
Yeah, I reckon they'll keep making the Lego Star Wars games because the Lego
like
Star Wars games fucking sell. So it's in their best interest to keep adapting Star Wars into Lego form. But yeah, so I thought we'd talk about some Star Wars games from, like way back when. Not go back too far, but like just talk about like some of the games that kind of stand out, as we're like growing up and playing a lot of because when we were growing up, there was a lot of Star Wars games. Like a lot, and now there's not that much. So let's talk about the heyday of Star Wars video games, which is back when LucasArts was a thing. So like I'll start because
LucasArts is now a thing again.
Well, yeah, but it's like a different thing now.
I know it is, but let's just rejoice in name, okay?
Yeah. But let's talk about let's talk about like I'll start because I kind of led from the catch up segment into this, but I've been playing Star Wars. I've been revisiting Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith on the PS2. I'm actually playing it right now, actually, as we're recording this. But yeah, I've been revisiting that. I haven't really played through a lot of the campaign because I've just been like revisiting a lot of old games. Another one I've been revisiting, or actually not really revisiting, but playing properly for the first time, was the original Star Wars Battlefront. Because I played a lot of Battlefront 2, but I didn't really like. I never really played the original one.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of playing that a bit recently as well. I've only dabbled in it. I haven't really had a big go at it. But, as a foundation for what Battlefront 2 became, like, it's not a bad, like, kind of starting point.
So, weird hot take.
Yeah.
I vastly prefer the original Battlefront to Battlefront 2.
Oh. That's an interesting one.
That's always been my opinion. I have always preferred... the first Battlefront game.
Okay.
I can't explicitly say what it is.
Mm.
Maybe when I was a kid, I just found Battlefront 2 a bit too complicated in some aspects compared to the first one, because I'd spent fucking years on the first game. And then the second game was like, oh, Jedi, clones, timed things. The timed Jedi in Battlefront 2 did me no favors. I just wanted to be Yoda and kill people.
Yeah, fair enough.
And they were like, you've timed out. And I'm like,
yeah.
Fuck.
For me, I think, like, just in terms of, like, content, like, Battlefront 2 is obviously the superior game in that regards. Like, there's just a lot more in Battlefront 2. I haven't played enough of Battlefront 1 to really, like, comment too much on it. So I'm not going to really say much. Like, for me, when I was... growing up, like, Battlefront 2 was the game. That's what everyone was kind of playing. That's what we were talking about. That's what was going on. I quite enjoyed Battlefront 2 a lot. I did a lot of like modding and stuff for it as well. Kind of like what I do now with EA Battlefront 2. The only time I really ever play Battlefront now is when I'm fiddling around with mods, or if I happen to be playing with friends or something. But that OG Battlefront, oh, it was so good. I remember there was a mod coming out for that took like years to come out, and then it was like years. They spent years making it, and then they ended up canceling the project, and it never eventually came out. But it was there was a World War II mod being made for Battlefront 2, which was going to be like it was just going to replace everything with like World War II. I think they were doing a custom map and thing with like trenches and stuff, and they were going to have like planes and all sorts of like different abilities. It was going to be like a big thing, and I was really looking forward to that because at the time I was like super into World War II as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh fuck, this would be so good. And then they never ended up bringing it out, unfortunately, which is a damn shame. But one mod I did play a lot of was the Mass Effect Unification mod. That was a lot of fun because I was kind of like getting into the Mass Effect. This was kind of like when I was getting into the Mass Effect franchise when I was in like my late teens, because I never played them before, and I thought I'd give the Mass Effect Unification mod a go, and I played a heap of that. But yeah, I played a lot of Battlefront 2. I don't know, does Battlefront 1 have a campaign? Or is it just like battles?
I think it was just battles from memory.
Yeah. Cause
it's like you work your way from planet to planet doing... It's like one of those kinds of campaigns.
Yeah. Is it like Galactic Conquest? Or is it like
yes,
an early
it's
version
Galactic Conquest.
Yeah. Because that was like the best part about Battlefront 2 was playing like the Galactic Conquest mode. That was always a lot of fun to play. That was something I spent a lot of time playing. But yeah, that was probably the Star Wars game I like played the most of outside of probably Lego Star Wars. But one thing I want to talk about with Episode 3, the game I'm playing right now, I'm in a pretty intense duel with Anakin, by the way. But one thing I want to talk about specifically with that game is it was kind of like the precursor for like what the Force Unleashed kind of became in terms of lightsaber combat, because it was the first time they did like motion capture lightsaber combat. Like they got Hayden Christensen in to do a bunch of like lightsaber combat and shit, and they did like motion capture, and then you know, they had like a lot of reference footage because they were like doing this obviously at the same time they were shooting Episode 3, so they got him in to do that, and it ended up being like a really decent combat system. Like it was like, I think the first time like in a proper Star Wars game there was like a decent lightsaber combat system, and then of course that ended up being refined a lot with the Force Unleashed. But did you ever play Episode 3?
I've played it once at a friend's house.
Yeah. Were you playing like the versus mode, or
no? We were working through the campaign. I remember we got to just before you rescue Count Dooku.
Yeah.
Rescue.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of Star Wars. Is
rescue Palpatine. Sorry, not Count Dooku. Whoops.
I mean, look, Count Dooku could have done with a good rescue, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Get him out of that situation. Count Dooku was never a bad guy, alright? He was misunderstood. Yeah, my favorite thing about the Episode 3 game is like the versus mode is great. It's good like couch kind of like gameplay type thing. I remember playing like a heap of like Episode 3 versus mode, which is what I'm playing right now, and doing that on the couch with like my brother and shit back in the day. Fuck, I just threw my lightsaber at a wall. And so I was like, I remember doing that, but like my favorite thing is like that game, the biggest part of that game for me that I remember the most was playing through the Mustafar battle at the end. And then at the end of that, you've got like, you actually get like 2 different endings to that game. You got like an alternate ending where, you know, if you defeat Obi-Wan, because the way it works is like you pick either Obi-Wan or Anakin to play through the final fight, and then depending on who you pick will depend on, you know, what ending you get. So you could have like an alternate ending where Anakin just like fucking kills Obi-Wan and then just walks up to meet the Emperor, and the Emperor's like, yeah, good, you know, whatever, you fucking killed him, or whatever he says. And then the Emperor gives him his new red lightsaber, and then the first thing he does is just fucking throw it in the air, turn it on, and catch it, and then just fucking stab Palpatine. And he's just like, yep, I'm gonna rule the galaxy instead. I was like, nice, I like this ending. This is fun.
Mad lad Anakin.
Yeah. But what else did you play, like?
As a kid, one of my most vivid memories was I got a PS5 very late into the game. I did. In fact, I only got it by 2021. Childhood me would be angry.
Took a long time.
I got a PS2 very late into the game, around 2006, 5 years into its life cycle.
Yeah, I was very much the same. I got a PS2 like quite late as well.
And I distinctly remember I used to always go over to my friend's house. He had an Xbox, just an Xbox back then. Yeah, the OG. And we used to just play games together, Halo. That's how I got into Halo.
Yeah, never played a Halo game.
Really? Huh.
Never had an Xbox.
Neither did I.
And I'm not starting now. It's too late now. That ship has sailed.
Yeah, that's fully fair. I managed to finish every Halo game without ever owning an Xbox.
Yeah.
That's my greatest achievement in life. But, we played episode 3 up until that part, and I remember having quite a bit of fun with that. But he also had Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy, and that was awesome.
That's a great game.
We used to play that together non-stop, and I got my PS2, and I was like, I want to get Lego Star Wars. So we actively tracked down, I think it was the Revolution CD in Civic, the city centre of Canberra.
Yeah.
Because they had the last copy at the time of Lego Star Wars 1, which was the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
So my very first major exposure outside of that weird pod racing game that my after-school care used to have was Lego Star Wars 1, the prequel era. It was damn fine of a game.
It was a great game. I have a lot of nostalgia for that game.
Yes.
Like a lot for Lego Star Wars 1. I actually prefer the first one over the second one.
As do I.
But I just remember just like spending so much time just like changing characters and like fighting other characters in Dexter's Diner.
Yes.
And I'm still a little salty that they replaced Dexter's Diner with
Cantina
in the complete saga.
Yeah.
I'm like, you should be able to travel to both. Like, you walk into the thing, and then you can travel to Coruscant, and then you're at the Cantina, and that's where you can play the episode 3 levels.
Which,
like
if it was made nowadays, that's probably how they would have played it, or it'd be an open world thing, which it's gonna be.
Which we will be getting. Yeah, that was a good game. I remember playing that a lot. One level I played a lot, and it's one of my favorite levels, is actually the opening level of episode 3, where you're like in the ship and you're flying through space.
Yes, and you have to I think you had to go through the cruisers at the time.
Yep. Yeah. It's like an on rails thing.
Yes.
Where in like Lego Star Wars 2, they made like ship's actual gameplay, and you would actually have to like fly the ship around and do all that.
Yep.
But like in Lego Star Wars 1, it was like both that and the pod racing were both like linear, like on-rail shooter type things, where you would like move the ship around in the spot to dodge fire or shoot
and
things.
Try and get the mini kits that flew by.
Exactly, yeah, but you're mainly shooting stuff. But that was all good. That was a great game, man.
It was. I think the two levels I remember the most is the opening level on Naboo. When you have Jar Jar and Qui-Gon.
Yeah, it starts out on the ship.
It starts on a ship, and I remember that part, and then it drops down onto Naboo.
My favorite part of that is when the ship, like, they blow up the ship, and, like, the pilots are just sitting there, and then they just go, as they fall to the ground and fall to bits. That was always funny.
And I think the other level is the classic level of Mustafar.
Yeah, Mustafar was like a great level,
and it did exactly what Revenge of the Sith did, the game, where if you had two controllers in, and you were playing with a friend, it would be a fight to the death at the end.
Yeah, it's good stuff. What were some other games I played? I mean, obviously, like KOTOR is like the big ones.
Fun fact about KOTOR, all of my Star Wars related stories end up relating back to my friends, because I just never owned the games outside of the Lego games.
We get it, Lewin. You have friends. It's fine.
Yeah, I do. Get over it. Battlefront and the 2 Lego games were the three Star Wars games I distinctly owned. My friend owned KOTOR 2 and KOTOR 1 on the Xbox.
Yeah.
And I was very confused when I saw those.
Why do they have swords? Why do they not have why do they have katanas? Why do they not have lightsabers? What's going on?
We were just in this little, like, man cave gaming den sort of area. And I was looking at these games on his shelf, and I see Star Wars, and I'm like, the hell's this? Pull it out. there's Darth Nihilus from KOTOR 2, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? When did Star Wars have this happen?
It was a big thing back in the day. A fun fact, I've never actually finished the KOTOR games.
Neither have I. I only started playing it last year.
Yeah, like when I was a kid, I always... I played KOTOR 1, and I always got, 10 or so hours in it, but it was just like one of those games, I'd play, and then, I get so far into it, and then I just never played it, and then, I'd swapped to a different computer or something, and I didn't have my save, so I had to start it again, so I ended up playing, the same 10 hours over and over again back then.
I think
a big issue I had was save files corrupting. I remember that for KOTOR 1. And I was saving KOTOR 2. I did start playing KOTOR 2, but I was saving that for when I finished 1, so then I could go on and play 2. But I did start playing it once, but again, I only played that for a little bit, and then they're good games. I love them, but I never really got the chance to sit down and actually play it. Maybe I will one day. It's on my list of things to do one day, but
it's very much my slow work through game, because I think I'm still up to leaving the tutorial planet, which is a very long tutorial.
It is, yeah. I don't know if I'll ever get to getting through that game or not, but we'll see what happens. Another game I played was the RTS game, Star Wars Empire at War.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, so it's basically because I was super into RTS games when I was a kid as well, so I was playing a lot of Age of Empires and things like that. And there was a RTS game called Empire at War, which was just Star Wars themed Age of Empires. And it's a really fucking good game as well. And there's a little cinematic mode, so when you're commanding your soldiers to do different things, you could actually press a button and it comes up with a cinematic mode of the battle. So that was as a kid, I thought that was a really cool feature. It doesn't hold up. It looks like utter shit because it's an RTS game, so they have really low res character models and stuff because you're not meant to look at them close up. So it doesn't quite hold up, that cinematic mode, but as a kid that was the coolest thing. You'd be having a big space battle and you could just cut to cinematic mode and just fucking watch it play out, and it was really cool. But the big thing for that was if you're playing the Empire, you basically just got to build up enough resources and things, and you can eventually build the Death Star. And the way it would work is a game of that, you would have Empire. I think it was just Empire Rebels. It was just original trilogy from memory. But you'd have the Empire and Rebels, and you just pick your side, and then the goal was basically just to wipe out the other one. And you have a space so with the space battles, because I think space battles and land battles were two separate things. I don't think it's not like Battlefront where it was all one. You can have. There was a mod that they released for Battlefront where you could have space battles and ground battles in one thing rather than being separate games. And then Battlefront 3 was originally going to be that, so you could battle on the ground, but then you could fly up into space, and there'll be a space battle going on and things like that. But yeah, so there's a similar sort of thing. It's very separated, but the end game of playing as the Empire when you're doing space battles is to get the Death Star and just fucking obliterate the Rebels. And I remember that was my goal for a very long time. I just wanted to be able to last long enough in the game, build enough resources, absolutely wreck, so I could build the Death Star. The Death Star took a while to build from memory. If I replayed it now, it probably didn't take that long, but I just remember being fuck, I'm building the Death Star, but I'm still in this battle and I can still lose while I'm building the Death Star. So, but yeah, probably if I replayed it now, it probably wouldn't take that long.
Wipe out those rebel scum.
Yeah, and then you get it, and then you just wipe them out with the Death Star, and it's so satisfying.
I've genuinely never heard of that game.
Yeah, it's good. There was a couple of expansions to it and stuff as well, which is pretty good.
I know the Lord of the Rings equivalent, Battle for Middle-earth, but I did not know
Yeah, Empire at War. I think it's on Steam, actually. It might be on Steam. I'll bring it up now, actually. I'll see if it's there, because it's actually a pretty good game. Like, it's a good little game. Good little game to sink a few hours into here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. It's on Steam. Empire at War Gold Pack. It is... That's like $28. But... yeah, you get that, and you also get the DLC, which is the Forces of Corruption. Which actually, I think this is the version I had, the Gold Pack, because you could play as the Empire. Because it says here, like, because it was all just like one thing for me. But it says here, Forces of Corruption. You've played the light side, you've played the dark side. Now you play the corrupt. Oh no, okay, so you could play Empire and that, but now with Forces of Corruption, you play the corrupt side, whatever the fuck that means.
I'm assuming that's like the rebels gone bad.
No, I think it's just more like the criminal underworld. Yeah, it's like the criminal underworld.
Okay.
So it's like the same thing, but yeah, with criminal underworld.
So it's like bounty hunters and stuff.
Yeah. Apparently there's like multiplayer and shit with this as well on Steam. It's a good game. I'm looking at some screenshots now, and it looks like utter shit. But, oh god! So I'm just looking at this screenshot of Darth Vader and Obi-Wan having a lightsaber fight, and it's like from the cinematic mode. So the Obi-Wan model looks tragic. It looks so funny. The only other things I played was like Starfighter and stuff like that.
There was one game that was, I don't think it was official. It was an online game.
Yeah.
And I think it was Star Wars Galaxies?
Oh no, Galaxies was official. It was an official MMO. Yeah.
I played Galaxies a lot. I'm just gonna call it the SWTOR before SWTOR.
Yeah. Well, they cancelled Star Wars Galaxies so they could make the Old Republic, which you can still play Star Wars Galaxies, because basically a bunch of fans made their own fucking servers, got their own servers up and running, so you can still play it. There's a couple of different versions of the game you can play now too, because obviously that, like with any MMO, the game changed over time. So they do what like WoW does with the classic servers and stuff. So there's two different separate programs you can download to run Star Wars Galaxies with. One of them is the vanilla Star Wars Galaxies experience, and then the other one is the game as it was when it wrapped up. And you know, a lot of people have a lot of nostalgia for the original version of that game, but let me tell you, I've played a bit of it. I haven't played a lot of that game because it's, you know, I'm not going to play like a, you know, couple of decade old MMO. Like, it's just not happening. Plus there isn't like a big player base for it. Like there's a lot of player bases, like a lot of people that play it, but it's not like super huge. But I had a bit of fun with it when I played it, but I realized it's the type of game, like, I'm just not going to have the time to actually play it, because it takes forever to level up and it takes forever to do anything. But I actually played a bit of both versions, but the one I played the most was the like final build version, where you could select your class straight away and you could just go straight on the path to becoming a Jedi, if that's what you wanted to do. Where in the original version you couldn't do that. It was like a big run around to just even get to that point of the game. So yeah. But yeah, no, that was a bit of fun briefly. But I never played the Old Republic.
I've played the opening of the Old Republic several times.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. It's just, you know, like, that ship has sailed as well. Like with Halo, that ship sailed a long time ago.
I've just got a few people in my group who really like SWTOR, and every now and again a different one of them will go, "Let's play it." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I need to make a new character again, don't I?" They're like, "Yeah, let's start at the beginning." I'm like, "I've only ever seen the beginning."
I've always wanted, especially since I got my PC last year, I've wanted to dabble in it, but I think I've just come to that conclusion. It's just like, I just don't think...
It's a massive time sink.
Yeah, I just don't think so. I don't think so, not anymore.
Yeah, that's MMO's time sinks.
Yeah, I'm fine with playing Destiny and shit, the MMO light kind of stuff, because
Yeah.
like it's not as much of a commitment. But yeah, MMOs are just not into them. I've tried to get into MMOs in the past, like I said, like I played a little bit of Star Wars Galaxies, and I played Star Trek Online. I've done a few of them, but like I never played them long enough to really get anything out of it. I played DC Universe Online for a little bit. Yeah, it's just not my thing. I'm not into it.
It's fully fair with MMOs, I think.
Yeah. But other than that, there's only one other Star Wars game that I played a lot of. And I mean, I played a ridiculous amount of this game. And that was Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, on the PC back in the day. I actually still have it.
That's on PS4 now as well.
It is, yeah, but the PS4 version, unlike the PS4 version of Jedi Academy, doesn't include the multiplayer mode. And that's what I played the most of. When I was a kid, I played most of the multiplayer mode. Like, I did play the single-player campaign, but the multiplayer mode was where it was at. And because, obviously, I never played online or anything like that, like, I was just playing with bots. But I remember just sinking so much time into playing that. Like, I think it was just one of my favorite games back in the day.
I spent so long being confused because all of my Star Wars stories also have me confused, apparently.
I mean, it just sounds like Star Wars itself is just confusing.
I used to play a Star Wars game on my mate's PC, and I was like, it's a first-person shooter. I'm like, what the hell is this? We're playing it. We're going through this stormtrooper base or an Empire remnant base.
Yep, that sounds
killing
like
people.
That sounds like Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast.
Blowing open the opening of the base, going down the elevator. And that's the most I ever played that game until like a decade later, or over a decade later, like 2 years ago, when I downloaded Outcast on PS4.
Yeah.
And I was playing through the first level. I'm like, wait, this is the game.
Yeah,
I know exactly what to do.
The opening cutscene of that with Kyle and Jan, and they're talking to Mon Mothma. Yeah, so that's like one of those like gaming cutscenes I can just recite, because I've played the opening outpost so many times. I've only ever played through the full game once, but I've played through the opening of that so many times. And yeah, I love the like little music cue when they're like, what does she say? She's like, I can't remember if it's at the part where she's like, I bring you troubling information about your mission on Kejim. And there's like this little random music cue in the background that seems so out of place. I can't remember if it's that line or if it's there's another line where she's like, no, it is that line actually, because Jane goes, Mon Mothma, Kyle was just talking about you, and then Mon Mothma's like, no doubt. I bring troubling information about your mission on Kejim, and there's like this weird little music cue in the background. I'm like, what the fuck is this? But yeah, I can recite that whole fucking scene. That's like one of the few scenes I can recite. And it's funny because I only realized I could recite that scene more recently, in fact, because I was talking to my brother about Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, because like we both played that game a lot. And I was talking with him about it, and we were like, oh yeah, the opening scene, we can talk about that. And then I just recited the entire scene start to finish, and I was like, oh fuck, I haven't touched this game in like 15 years, and I can do that. So that was fun. That was a fun little discovery I made. I would like to get back into it though, because I really like the combat and the gameplay of the Jedi Knight / Dark Forces games.
I played Dark Forces before I played... Well, actually, using the knowledge that I played it, like, over a decade ago. I played Dark Forces in high school with no idea that it connected into Jedi Knight.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's a weird one. You have, like, Dark Forces, then you have...
Dark Forces 2 Shadow of the Empire, I think it is, or something like that.
No, I don't think, because Shadow of the Empire was its own game. There was like expansions. So
I swear
there was something. I know what you're talking about. I don't know if it's called Shadow of the Empire though, because the Shadow of the Empire was its own game because it was based on the book. But there was something. I know what you're talking about. It might have been called like Remnants of the Empire.
Yeah,
or something.
I bought. Yes, I think because I bought the massive Star Wars collection on Steam back in high school.
Yeah, I mean it's still on Steam. You can still buy it.
That is true. It is. A lot of good games to play in there.
Yeah, I think it was. I'm not sure if it was like. I'm actually gonna look it up now because I can't remember. I'm not sure if there was if it was Dark Forces 2 or if it was Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. Because then the one after that was Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and then Jedi Academy,
which is my favorite of those games.
It's the one I've played the least of, but I do have it because my plan is I'm going to play it. Yeah, so Star Wars Dark Forces, Jedi Knight Mysteries of the Sith. So that came a bit later. That seems to be a separate game. Well, now I'm confused. I'm confused by what's going on here. Here we go. Let's just click on the Jedi Knight collection. This is easy. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so it's Dark Forces, Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight Mysteries of the Sith, which I guess was an add-on to Dark Forces, like Dark Forces 2, but then I guess maybe it's been released as its own thing because it's actually cheaper than all the others, so it might be its own release now. It's just a really short experience. Yeah. And then there's Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and then Jedi Academy. And you can get all of that for $26 currently.
Hot damn.
But yeah, I got Jedi Academy because that's the only one of those I never played. So I played a little bit of it on PC. I did uninstall it. But I want to reinstall it again because I do want to try out the Star Wars Movie Duels mod. That I've seen a bit of gameplay for. Like, it just like recreates like the iconic movie duels, and there's like a few other stuff as well for that game. So I might do that at some point. Yeah. But yeah, other than that though, that's like really all I played. There's not much more. Like Force Unleashed I played obviously, but that kind of came a bit later for me.
I have one very specific, very sadistic memory of Force Unleashed on the PS2. You could, when you're on the Death Star,
yeah,
you could grab the stormtroopers in the reactor.
And like hold them there, or
hold them between, like, in front of the beam, and just watch them get atomized.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I did that too.
That was the most sadistic thing I used to do.
Yeah, definitely. That was a fun game. The PS3 version is way better than the PS2 version.
I have it. I still haven't finished it.
I haven't started, because I recently got both Force Unleashed Ultimate Sith Edition and Force Unleashed 2 on the PC on Steam. So my plan is at some point this year I would actually like to play through both of those games, because I've never played the PS3 version like ever. I've just seen footage of it, and I never actually played Force Unleashed 2. So those are kind of like two games that I just kind of, outside of playing the PS2 version, I just kind of missed out on. So I'd like to jump in and play that, because I know the Ultimate Sith Edition of Force Unleashed also has like extra levels and shit too. There's like bonus levels and stuff that aren't in the PS2 version. So yeah, that would be fun to play. Yeah, so I like had no idea how that was going to go, that little topic we just did there, but it ended up being a nice little discussion right there, which is what I was kind of hoping for. So that turned out really well. But now we should move on to the actual main topic of the episode, and that being we recently revisited Solo, A Star Wars Story. I watched it this morning, so it's still very fresh in my mind.
Yep.
And yeah, I just want to start, like, what did you, what do you think of Solo, Star Wars Story? Because I feel like now's a good time to talk about it too, because it's been a few years since that came out, and that came out like right after The Last Jedi, so You know, it
got a very bad rep.
Yeah, it came out like it flopped in the box office. I think it's like the lowest like box office a Star Wars movie has ever had. So we're talking about a few years later. This is actually the first time I've rewatched the film since 2018 when that came out. Yeah, it was 2018 when that came out because Rise of Skywalker was 2019. So yeah, it's the first time I watched it in a couple of years. But yeah, what did you think of it? What did you think rewatching it?
Rewatching it, pretty much, I enjoyed it pretty much the exact same amount as I did the first time. I very much enjoyed this film.
Yeah.
I did have a few pick up your phone moments, which I didn't have the first time through. But obviously the first time through wasn't a cinema, and I'm just a dickhead if I do that. Exactly. It didn't bore me at all the first time through. It didn't bore me the second time, but you know, there are just sometimes where you're just like, this is dragging on for a tiny bit, and then you look down for a few seconds.
Yeah. Like for me, I really enjoyed the first time I saw it. Like I've always been a Solo defender. Like I think it's genuinely a good movie.
Likewise.
I think unlike Rogue One, this film, the big thing for me for this film was this film has characters in it. You've got the recognizable, Chewie, Lando, and Han and all that. But like it's very much the other characters in this film. There's characters here. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I really love Paul Bettany in this film. I think Absolutely. He's great. Woody Harrelson's pretty good as well. I just feel like where with Rogue One, I feel like everyone was just such a blank slate. Like I didn't feel like there was a single character in that film. I didn't feel like anyone went on a journey throughout that film at all. It was very much just a case of Jyn Erso wants to, is like alone and does her own thing, but then she's like all of a sudden wants to be in the rebellion for some reason, and then it's just a shit film. With this, I found the characters are there, and I think the big thing for that was probably because Lawrence Kasdan wrote this, who did episode 5 and 6 and also wrote The Force Awakens as well. He was like, him and his son wrote this film. And you can very much tell, was unlike Rogue One, you can tell with this film, like there's this, I don't know how to explain it, but there's just something, when I was watching it today, I was like, this just feels like Star Wars, you know what I mean? Like, there's just something in it, there's just like this little integral part of that, like, Star Wars DNA that is present in Solo.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's, I think it's a mixture of the score, but also the writing and the fact that Lawrence Kasdan, who, I think that's how you say his name, Lawrence Kasdan. I believe whatever. That is that. Doesn't matter. Anyway, because he was he's such a key integral part of the Star Wars saga. Like, even though prior to Disney, he only wrote 2 of the films, he wrote what is probably, widely considered the best one.
Everyone loves Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, and I don't know, I just felt there's a little bit of Empire when you watch Solo.
Yeah,
it's just it's great, and I really enjoyed it this time. I will say it's probably there was a few scenes that I was looking down at my phone, and there were a few eye-rolling moments where I was like, I don't think that's a particularly good choice. Obviously, the big one that everyone talks about is how Han Solo got his name. That's like a big, just eye-rolling moment, because it's like, really, do we need this? I liked that his name is just Han Solo. I don't think we need to explain why his name is Han Solo. You know what I mean? So there's little moments like that. I found the whole droid liberation thing a bit cringy, with fucking whatever that droid was called that I can't remember, the Phoebe Waller-Bridge character. I found that a bit cringy. Obviously it's an allegory for women's rights and shit like that, but I just thought I'm like, this is adding nothing to this story or plot whatsoever. It's so disconnected. It's just every now and then we cut to a shot of like there's like one scene where Lando's like, "Do you need anything?" Or like, you know, if you need anything, let me know. And then she's like, "Equal rights," and I'm like, okay, shut the fuck up, droid. I do like. There's like a really good moment. I do like the moment where she like liberates that droid, the droid at the console. We're just getting straight into fucking spoilers here, but
we may as well. It's been out for a few years.
You know the droid that's at the console. She takes like the chip off it, and the droid's just like, oh, and she's like, go be free. And there's like the droid's like, you know, what do I do? And she's like, I don't know, go liberate your friends or whatever. You know, like I like that. It's like, because it came across as like she's all for like droid rights and shit, but she also
doesn't
just
actually
didn't
know
seem...
what to do when it actually happens.
Yeah, she's just like, yeah, whatever. And then I love that whole sequence, but like it's like the little moments throughout the rest of the film where she would just keep like saying like equal rights or whatever, and it's like, I get it, you know. I
find the performance very strange.
It is an odd performance
because it and the writing for it, it's just, it can be played to both sides.
Yeah.
Like, as someone who's for equal rights can go, yeah, representation, I agree with this. And someone who's against it can go, yeah, it's clearly satire.
Yeah.
Because it plays as both.
It's really weird. It's really weird because it's meant to be kind of like comedic and shit. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Because outside of those, like, the rest of the film's really good.
Yeah.
Outside of that, like, it's a really decent heist film. This is like the Fast and Furious of the Star Wars films, you know?
It's got a little bit of everything. It's got Fast and Furious. It's got a bit of your space western in there.
Yeah.
You have World War II.
Yep, and there's a bit of... there is. There's that World War II kind of alluding sequence at the start when they're... you know, the Empire fighting and whatever. I actually really I want to address this straight away because I'm just reading, because I've got some trivia open, so I thought we could just read some fun facts about this film throughout as we go. Like, this is a very classic style episode. Like, we're just winging our way through this one. We're not really, haven't really planned this out at all. But I was just reading, Harrison Ford revealed that he has seen the movie and thinks it's phenomenal, but skipped out on the premiere with the rest of the cast because he didn't want to steal Alden Ehrenreich's moment of glory.
Let's be honest. Harrison Ford just thinks it's phenomenal because he doesn't have to play Han Solo.
It's like, because I didn't have to do it. You think he's like one of those guys, like, he's always very honest. So it's like when he was asked, you know, why'd you decide to come back for, you know, The Force Awakens, and he's like, money.
I very much respect Harrison Ford.
Yeah, he's like Christopher Eccleston in a lot of ways, because I don't know if you've seen the Big Finish interview they released with him.
The one where
yesterday.
Everyone was like, why did you come back? And everyone was expecting, like, love for the franchise.
Yeah, and then he's literally just like, well, I mean, you know, it's paid work and in a pandemic. And I'm like, yeah, at least you're honest.
Look, we got him back. That's all that matters for me.
Yeah, exactly. But Harrison Ford is very much the same. He's very just like, no bullshit. He's just like, well, yeah, money. Like, you know, I wouldn't do this otherwise. I think they were asked, you know, like, would you keep revisiting all your old franchises? Because he, you know, did Blade Runner, and obviously he's come back for Indiana Jones once, and he's doing it again. And he's just like, I think he said something like, yeah, if I get paid, you know, like, just things like that. I love Harrison Ford, but I do respect that, though. I've you know, because it would be just so easy for Harrison Ford to just turn up at a premiere, and then, you know, everything would be all focused on him, even though he's not in the film.
And then you'd have people going, oh, look, it's the actual Han Solo, and because
and then everyone would be like, you'd have the inevitable photo of Harrison Ford and Alden Ehrenreich side by side at the premiere,
and everyone's like, they look nothing alike.
Yeah, no, I'm glad he did that. But yeah, he said it's phenomenal. I'm just surprised he's seen the film. That's the main thing I want to get there, because I feel like he just doesn't care about anything Star Wars. I feel like don't care is a strong word. I just feel like, you know, he's the kind of guy who's like,
he puts it in the past and just moves on.
But yeah, that's really cool. And the reason why I brought that little fun fact up is because I'm just reading through some fun facts here. But I wanted to talk about Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo.
Yes.
Ehrenreich?
Ehrenreich. I've always hold up.
Ehrenreich. Ehrenreich.
Yeah, we'll say Ehrenreich. That looks right.
What did you think of him as Han Solo?
So obviously, like a year before Solo came out, I was like, this is stupid. Nobody asked for this. I still stand by that nobody asked for it. Yeah, to be fair,
we didn't need this movie at all.
Am I happy I got it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just because you don't ask for it doesn't mean it can't be good.
Exactly.
The key thing here. And I think my feelings were greatly subverted because my family actually went to watch the movie before me. Because I went and watched all of the recent Star Wars movies with the same people. And they were like, oh, it was absolutely brilliant. I'm like, really? Even this? And they're like, oh, he did a great job. I'm like, okay. So I had my turning point going, all right, he could pull this off. Went and watched the movie, and yeah, he did. Because
he's good. Like
he is not a good Harrison Ford. But he doesn't have to be. He just has to be a good Han Solo. And he gets the mannerisms down pretty well.
Yeah, he's got the mannerisms down. He's got... but I also feel like he's very much like when he's playing this, because he is playing that like young version of Han Solo. Because I feel like there must be... like I don't know how long the time period is between this film and Episode 4.
Solo is before or around Thrawn, which I think is 5-ish years, 5-10 years after.
Yeah.
When is Solo? I'm also searching this up.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like time would have passed.
It's 10 to 13 years before the Battle of Yavin. So.
Yeah.
It's weird timing to watch him morph into.
Solo set. I'm just gonna put when is Solo set. Film is set at the height of the Empire before the Rebel Alliance has begun to establish. So it takes place around 11 to 14 years before A New Hope. So I don't think there's like an exact...
No, it's just
because it's definitely before Rebels, and it's before because it's yet another Rebel Alliance origin, because we haven't had enough of them. I don't know if you noticed that, but like right at the end, like the pirate characters that they were fighting were like, oh, we're gonna fuel a rebellion or whatever, and I'm like, oh, that's right, I forgot about this part. They're like, oh, it's another Rebel Alliance origin.
That did trip me up a bit, actually.
Because in Rebels, there's not like a full Rebel Alliance. Like there's little factions.
Yeah.
And then like during the course of like season 2, those factions come together to form the Rebel Alliance. And then that kind of leads into where Rogue One is and things like that. So, yeah, it's yet like another another kind of little like here's faction another little like link to the Rebel Alliance and stuff. But the funny thing about those characters is they're not rebelling against the Empire. At first, they're rebelling against.
They're against the criminal syndicates, aren't they?
Yeah, they're rebelling against them. So, but then they had that line where I'm like, okay, so this is going to become what this is right here is, one of these early starting factions, because it's like at the start of Rebels, like it's just them on their ship. I actually liken to Star Wars Rebels. I actually liken that a lot to Firefly, in the sense of it's just literally this group of people on a ship, just going about. They're like space pirates, just going about their business, causing trouble, making mischief and causing trouble. And it's very much like Firefly. But then you get to season 2, and that's when they kind of form the rebellion, and it kind of changes a bit. So these guys in this film must have been like one of the first kind of like factions where maybe they started out rebelling against the what are they called? The fucking syndicate or whatever? Something.
Oh fuck!
I literally watched this morning.
I think it is just the Syndicate, or no, the Crimson Dawn.
Crimson Dawn, that's it. Yeah.
And they're a part of the 5 syndicates.
But yeah, I think he's a really good Han Solo. Like, I think,
yes.
What I like about him is he's also not, because he is playing that younger version of the character, you know, not as, I guess, like, as cluey or as wise as he is to the universe as he is when we see him a bit later on. Like, you know, like when we see him in episode 4, you know, he's obviously been doing this for a long time. You can tell by the state of the fucking Falcon. And, you know, he just understands how the universe works, right? Where in this, he's very much unsure. He's very arrogant. He's very arrogant, very, you know, he's a little bit full of himself, like all young people are. But, like, he learns a lot in this film. Like, he you know, he goes into this, he gets into this situation. He seems to be just winging his way through life, you know. He joins the fucking Empire just to escape the planet. And then he like just fumbles his way through that for probably a few years. He becomes a pilot, so there's that. And then he joins this like group, does his job, and then becomes part of this. And you know, he kind of just fumbles his way through the whole story. Like, one character trait I noticed in this, and this is like something that plays into Han Solo as well, because Han Solo is, you know, a bit of a sweet talker in a way. Like, you know, if he gets himself into situations, he can talk himself out of it.
Yeah.
And there's like there's like moments in this film, like several moments, like first time when he's talking with Paul Bettany's character, you know, like Woody Harrelson's doing all the talking, and then he just starts saying shit, and Woody's like, you know, don't fucking talk. Like, what are you doing? And he just bullshits his way through the whole situation. And then he tries to do it again at the end of the film, and obviously it all falls apart when Lando just fucking legs it and leaves. And so he's like trying to just talk his way out of that situation, bullshit, and then it just fails, and he's like, oh, okay. You know, just goes back. But
it's kind of how he played it in the original trilogy too. Han doesn't start solidifying until halfway through Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Where he stays fairly consistent up until Return of the Jedi. And then, obviously, he's a fucking dad by episode 7.
Yeah, like, obviously he's grown up. But, I mean, even in episode 4, you can see that he's, you know, he has a much better understanding of just how it works.
He has a better understanding, but he still wings it a lot.
Yeah. Oh, still wings it, yeah. But he has a much better understanding of how it works. And then in this film, he's like, he really just gets himself, like, I don't want to say gets himself in over his head, because he's capable. He just doesn't quite understand the gravity of what the Crimson Dawn is.
He's very optimistic for his own situation.
Yeah.
He's like, I can do this. I can get myself out of this, which is very different from Han in episode 4, who's like, no, I'm not doing it. This is suicide.
Yeah, but I like, because it is this version of this character, you know, it's younger, you know, he's not trying to be Harrison Ford, you know, he's got, like, the mannerisms down and things, but he's very much bringing his own take to this character and his own version of this character. He's just not trying to do the same thing, and a lot of people keep saying they wanted that, you know, that guy that looks like a young Harrison Ford that can do a perfect Harrison Ford impression.
I don't know them.
He's an actor, but he looks exactly like a young Harrison Ford. In fact, he actually worked with Harrison Ford on a film. Before this came out, he worked with Harrison Ford on a film, and he actually played a young version of Harrison Ford's character. That's how everyone knows about him, because he looks like a young Harrison Ford, and he can do a perfect impression. And so people were like, oh, they should have cast him for Solo. Why wouldn't you cast him as a young Han Solo? And I think if they did do that, he literally would have just played a young Harrison Ford Han Solo. Like, it wouldn't have been what this is, which is something different. And I don't think it would have worked as well. I don't think. Because obviously Alden Ehrenreich obviously doesn't look like Harrison Ford.
It's really weird. There were some scenes in the movie where they played the lighting and the camera work very well.
Yeah.
Like, some of the Millennium Falcon scenes, I'm like, you look almost like, exactly like him in this one scene, and then it will change, and you will look nothing like him.
Yeah. But again, it's like back in the day, like people are complaining about this, and it's like oh, what I was saying. Like I've said in the past, like recast is fine. Like it doesn't matter, you know. Just recast the character. We know that it's the same person. They don't have to look like them, you know. There's always this insistence of explaining recasts and why they look different, and it's like, just don't. It's fine, you know. And I think this works really well. Obviously, we got Chewie being Chewie here. We see the kind of formation of that relationship. The big thing, though, is we have Emilia Clarke as Qi'ra in this. And I want to get to Donald Glover in a sec, but we'll talk about Emilia Clarke. See, here's the thing about Emilia Clarke is I think she's good in this, but I'm seeing a lot of people saying that her acting is very wooden and stuff. So I wanted to kind of get your take on Qi'ra.
I somewhat like the idea of Qi'ra. It's strange to me because, you know, growing up, Han and Leia was the thing, and obviously it's stupid to think he never would have had someone beforehand.
There's always going to be that X, you know. There's always going to be the X somewhere.
It was very weird to see Han absolutely smitten with her, though. But I guess with young Han, that makes perfect sense, especially since he got fucking played. As a service to the plot, I like her. She very much feels like a plot point most of the movie. Less as a character. I don't mind Emilia Clarke. I don't rank her highly. She felt the same in this as she felt in Terminator.
I was gonna say
Genesis.
That, yeah. Like, I don't think she's bad in Terminator. Like, I think she's actually like a decent choice for Sarah Connor. But I feel like the characterization of Sarah Connor in that film really let her down. I feel like it's a similar issue here, like you were just saying. Like, I feel like it's more of a characterization issue than an actual performance issue.
Yeah,
it seems like she just doesn't have a lot to work with.
Definitely.
Yeah, because you've seen Game of Thrones. Like,
I've seen season 1, and
yeah, like,
she definitely has a different acting style throughout what I've seen than what she does in both the other films.
Yeah, and I've seen her in other films. Like, there's a film where she's in, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a romantic drama type film, and she falls in love. Like, she's in that film, her character is like meant to be like someone who looks after like this disabled person, and this disabled person's like you know like young. He's just in a wheelchair because he had an accident or whatever. And, like, they kind of fall in love. And I've seen that movie. That movie also has Jenna Coleman in it as well, by the way. And, like, she's really good in that. Like, so I think she is a good actor. I think she's just had some really bad blockbuster choices, I think.
Yeah.
But, yeah, obviously they set her character up because when both those actors and even Donald Glover, when they signed on to do this, they signed contracts for multiple films. Not necessarily a solo sequel necessarily, but there were multiple film deals made, and they did definitely set up Emilia Clarke's character.
Yes.
Obviously with how she takes over Crimson Dawn, and they're now working with Darth Maul. So they did set up something there that will be explored, and obviously we are getting the Lando show, which I still don't know if Donald Glover's been confirmed for that, but I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be.
Is it live
Donald
action
Glover.
or animated? Have they said?
I don't think they've said anything about it, to be honest.
If it's animated, I can see Billy D. Williams coming back.
Yeah.
Because he does a lot of voice work for Lando whenever Lando shows up now.
Yeah. And I feel like it would be Billy D. Williams, but it would be the Donald Glover version still. Like, I feel like it would be young Lando.
But with old Lando, or with slightly older Lando's voice.
Yeah. But I if it's live action, like, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be Donald Glover doing it. And surely
they would have talked.
Especially if it's a mini-series as well. Like, if it's not it's like the Obi-Wan show where it's like a mini-series and it's not like a full-blown TV show. Because obviously Donald Glover left Community because he wanted to focus on his music career and do things like that. So and obviously he was on Community for like 4.5 years. He was on that show for very long times, and he did say that he doesn't want to do that. Like, he doesn't want to do that kind of thing. So I definitely would see him doing it if it was like a mini-series idea and it wasn't...
The current Disney Plus model works very well for that.
Yeah. Also, he's technically contracted to do it.
Yes.
Because they all signed contracts to do multiple films. I guess maybe because it's a TV series, it might be a bit different, but I feel like that's how they're going to do it. Because even though we're not getting a Solo sequel, there is... they were saying, like, it might not necessarily be a Solo sequel, but maybe we'll explore, like, Emilia Clarke, I think, signed a deal where they would explore the Crimson Dawn and the criminal underworld later on in maybe, like, a TV series or something like that. So it's interesting to see what will happen there. Maybe that's what the Lando series might deal with. Maybe they've kind of reconfigured it to deal with that, and... Because, like, I definitely will say one thing. I do want to see all of these characters again, I think.
I
definitely want to see this, more of this.
I'm interested in the Darth Maul subplot, but I'm not, like, enamored by it, because we all know how Darth Maul ends, and...
Yeah. So I would like to explore that, though, a little bit. Explore his involvement with the criminal underworld and things like that.
Darth Maul post-Clone Wars is, like, peak.
Yeah, like, I'd like to explore that a little bit, because we kind of see a little bit of him in Rebels.
Ever since he learned how to talk, he's been a fascinating character.
He has, hasn't he? Yeah. Interesting fact with this film, the Sam Witwer wasn't originally voicing the role. It was originally actually the guy, they actually literally dubbed Ray Park's voice with the guy that voiced Darth Maul in episode 1, in that one line of dialogue that Darth Maul has. They actually got him to do the voice, but then they decided to change it to Sam Witwer. I think because, for continuity's sake, I think it's probably, like, Sam Witwer's just associated now with Darth Maul, so I think...
I can hear him talking to Ahsoka in my head right now. He has such...
Yeah, you can hear his voice, right? Like,
yeah, you don't see much of anything that comes from that movie. It's always Jedis and Sith.
Yeah, fun fact. Here we go. Another fun fact for you. This is the only Star Wars film in official canon where the word Jedi isn't spoken once.
Oh yeah, Rogue One did have it. Also,
yeah.
It'd be the only... Oh, it did. I was going to say it'd be the only movie where a Force user didn't show up. Then I'm like, wait, Darth Maul at the very end.
Well, originally Paul Bettany wasn't the villain either. Like, there was another actor who was in that role. But when because they reshot most of this film, I think they reshot like 80% of this film. He wasn't available for reshoots, so they had to recast, and that's why we have Paul Bettany.
Which I'm perfectly okay with. I really like Paul Bettany's character, so I'm happy that it ended up that way.
Yeah, he's really great. It's just, anytime I hear him talk, I just can't get Vision out of my head, Like, every time I hear him talk, I'm like, oh, fuck. Another fun fact, apparently Solo was meant to be a temporary title for the film and wasn't originally meant to be the film's title. Which, I will say one thing about it, it's a shit title, so, but they were on Howard decided to leave it as Solo, apparently.
Logically, it should be called Han, since Solo got given to him in the middle of the movie.
Yeah. This is the first Star Wars movie with an opening scene that isn't set in space.
Yes, it's on the car chase scene on Corellia.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Or no, it's him. Is it the car chase, or is it him talking to the bug lady?
No, it's the chase, because the film opens with him, on the thing, and then as he's like, the film opens with him starting it up, and
yeah,
he drives off, and then as he's driving, the camera like pans up, and you see Corellia, and then you see the Solo title appear.
Yes, yeah.
Which is the only Star Wars film to actually have the title of the film in the film, and not, like, as a title card.
It was really weird that there was no opening crawl.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, like, Rogue One and that didn't have an opening crawl as well,
and
but they still had, like, a cutaway, like it was a cutaway to a title card rather than like it being in the thing. But I think the big standout of this whole film is Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian. Because it's very, especially after watching Community now, because I never seen Donald Glover in literally anything before this film came out. But after watching Community now and like seeing him in a few other things, there's a lot of mannerisms that Donald Glover has that he just brings into every role that he plays for some reason. So there's a lot of like Donald Glover mannerisms here, but when it comes to his voice, I don't know if you noticed this, but like he does a pretty, like, he was really good casting for a young Billy D. Williams as well, but like his voice is different in this. Like the voice he's putting on is very much a Billy D. Williams voice.
Yes, it is.
Especially, I mean, I think it fluctuates a bit throughout the film. Like, I think sometimes he's like, you can be like, okay, that's a bit more Donald Glover, that one's a bit more. But especially in like the opening scene when he's revealed at the sabacc table, but you don't see him, you just hear him. I remember watching that for the first time, and I was like, wait, because I knew Donald Glover was playing him, obviously, but I was like, that literally sounds like Billy D. Williams, because you don't see him yet, you just hear his voice. And so yeah, he's really good, but I think he's probably the best performance in this film, just across the board. So it's no surprise that he's getting a show.
Yeah.
Even if it's not Donald Glover, it's no surprise that this version will be getting a show.
Yes, he was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
My favorite scenes in this movie are actually the two sabacc games.
Yes.
Between Han and Lando. I'm like, yeah, this is great.
Oh.
Especially like the last one where Han like he like thinks he's like trying to like cheat and get his card, and then he can't get it. He's just like trying to act all like normal, and he puts his cards down. And he's like, hey, I've still got a good hand. Or, he's like, yeah, that's great, I can still win. And then Han's just like, I mean, look, you would have won if you had this. And he's like, oh my god, that's great. And I'm like, that's a little fun thing about Han. Like, we always knew he won the Millennium Falcon in a game as sabacc, but like this really shows that he's really good at sabacc.
Yes, like, he's really good, and he outplayed.
Really good.
He also adapted. I love just watching him get absolutely screwed over halfway through the movie to have that then happen. And you're like, this isn't fully how I pictured this happening, but you know what? It's the best way it could have happened.
Yeah. What was there to talk about in this movie? Like, I really like the whole first. Do you know Jon Favreau plays the alien?
There are several aliens. Help me.
Oh yeah, no, like the alien guy on the crew when they're doing the job. The one that's the pilot with like the multiple arms.
Jon Favreau's the pilot?
Yeah, Jon Favreau is the voice of that character.
I did not know that.
So there you go. That's a fun little fact. But I like that whole sequence. Like, that's actually a really good like heist sequence, you know? It's like that typical heist sequence in any movie where it just all turns to shit. That's a great little sequence.
Yes,
I like that.
I think I've mentioned this several times by now. Westerns are my absolute favorite genre.
Yeah.
So anything that's a space western just elevates it. So just that small taste of like a cowboy train robbery in space, and I was like, damn, it sold me. And having Woody Harrelson as the fun mentor-esque character who trusts nobody, the old gunslinger, was really good. Which actually does lead into my favorite scene of the movie. And it is just when Woody Harrelson and Han have their chat on the sand at the end of the movie.
Yeah. Is it the one after he's betrayed them, or the one beforehand?
After he's betrayed them.
So it's the end where
it's the very end where Han's where Han learns, or Han shows that what he's learnt, and just guns him down before he can shoot first, as anybody with Han would try to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Han shot first.
Exactly. And this film's like making sure that you know that that's what he does. I do like that scene. I like how surprised Woody Harrelson's character is, and we keep saying Woody Harrelson's character, but I'm gonna say his actual name. His actual name, because it's just a normal name in a Star Wars. Like, it's just literally a normal name. His name's Tobias Beckett.
Yes.
Like, it's not like a Star Wars name. It's just a normal name, like Luke. But Luke has Skywalker, right?
And there's like Beckett.
And Leia has
Organa,
and like there's always these like little names where his name's just Tobias Beckett. But yeah, even though Han had to kill him, there's that like little moment at the end where like the two, you know, because they're bonded throughout the film, and there's that like mentor kind of relationship there. You know, there is that. It is kind of like a sad moment in a way, because you know, there is that relationship there that you spend with the film, and now one's been forced to kill the other.
The reason Han has any sense of how the world works outside of Corellia is because of Beckett.
Yeah, exactly.
Beckett taught Han to temper himself, to not really be as... Things aren't gonna go your way. You need to learn that. Which Han did.
Yeah, and I also like how that kind of plays into the kind of final confrontation, when they're like handing off the fucking whatever it's called, the refined stuff, and I like how that plays into that, but it's not just that, it's like what he's learned throughout the film, but also he's using his skills as a really good sabacc player, you know, to double bluff. I think that's the term. I don't know. But like, it is, because he's like bluffing his way through that final thing, right? You know, because it's like, oh, we have it, but it's fake, obviously, because that was what we told him. But then but then they have it, but then they don't have it. And we actually have it, and it's really here. And it's just like there's a whole big thing. And I'm like, this is actually really smart. And I love that moment, because it's like very much a case of like, I mean, Woody Harrelson betraying is very obviously predictable, because they set that up with his character straight away. They're like, don't trust anyone. I'm like, well, yeah, obviously you're going to betray Han later in the film. So obviously when that moment happened, I know the film treats it like a big reveal. You know, they cut to reaction shots of all the characters, and then Woody Harrelson just walks out, and the music kind of has this little hype moment, and it's just like, well, it's not really much of a reveal, is it? But then you have that other reveal in the scene where like you think it's all lost, everything is all done, and they're gonna have to fight their way out of this and stop it by force. And then Han's like, well, you know, I've actually done this, and this is the situation, and it just turns the whole thing on its head, and it's just like, damn, this is why
you just played everyone in this room.
Played literally everyone. So that's good stuff.
Han's
I love it.
a very good on the fly strategist.
Yeah, he's very much. It's all improv. It's all just like in the moment. We just adapt to the situation. Obviously, the Kessel Run sequence is pretty good.
I like that they finally showed that that a parsec was a distance, not a.
Yeah. Like the Kessel Run is a very specific distance, and he did that Kessel Run in a shorter distance because he took that shortcut.
It
actually reminded me a lot. It reminded me a lot of the scene in episode 1 where they're underwater and then they're like flying through, and then there's like just the monster that like opens it. That opens its eye or whatever. It was very similar to that sequence because they're like in the dark, and then as soon as the light turns on, you just see the eye, and then there's like this big tentacle monster thing. That was pretty good.
The cinematography. I like the in that scene, and pretty much any scene in this movie is very visually appealing.
Yeah, definitely. It looks great.
From the get-go, when they leave Kessel, and there's the destroyer blockade coming through the
Oh, yeah, and you see, like, the destroyer barely fits in the like tunnel, but it's also just shaded in the dark, and you just see it from
the
like
Falcons.
The lightning and shit.
Yeah.
And that's a good shot, eh?
And then it just keeps going, because I absolutely love that wormhole black hole thing.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
And just that whole sequence. And I actually my friend had much the same thing. He hates modern Star Wars. He liked Force Awakens, but he despises The Last Jedi, and he refuses to watch anything after that, except he'll watch Clone Wars, because Clone Wars is good.
Yeah, Clone Wars is, Clone Wars.
But I was like, you need to at least watch Solo. I can't promise you it's a brilliant movie, but it's fun. And he shot back, he's like, oh, didn't the robot get uploaded into the Falcon, taking away Han's abilities? Han's ability, it ruins his achievements later. I'm like, no, not really. It became a navigation computer. But he wasn't having any of it. So, he came down to Canberra, and I was like, you get no say in this.
Yeah,
you're staying in my house. We're watching Solo. He was absolutely enamored the whole fucking movie. I was like, did this ease any of your worries? He's like, yeah, pretty much all of them. I'm like, yeah, exactly. This is a damn fine movie.
Yeah, and it comes back into the thing, like, this came out literally within 5 months of The Last Jedi coming out, and I think that's what really hurt this film. I feel like if this film came out in the December slot period when the Star Wars films were usually coming out, I feel like it probably would have done better, because actually, you know what? If this film had came out maybe now instead of, 4 years ago...
Oh, yeah, with Mandalorian
I feel like it would have done a lot better, because this film is genuinely a good movie.
It is.
But it came out at that time where, The Last Jedi...
Everyone was split on Star Wars. It was the
height of that, and that went on for years, too. it's still going on now.
Yeah, but, and Rise of Skywalker didn't help anything.
Yeah, and that went on for years, and I feel like this just came out at the wrong time. Interesting, fun thing about this, though, is this was actually... Because a Han Solo movie... A lot of people were saying, a Han Solo movie was, unnecessary, we didn't need it, and, fully get it, 100% on board with that idea. Like you said, we're glad we got it now. It's a nice little film, but, it's not needed.
Yeah.
But the fun fact of this was actually in development before even Disney came into the picture, this film. Because I was reading up on the history of it, and so George Lucas and Lawrence brought Lawrence Kasdan in to actually start developing a Han Solo film in 2012 before he sold it to Disney. And then obviously he sold it off to Disney, and even though they didn't announce it at the time, one of the things they were doing was, because Lawrence Kasdan came in to do The Force Awakens, but he originally was attached to this project, not The Force Awakens. And so when Disney took over, they were like, yeah, we'll make the Solo film and you can still write it. And it was originally, the original plan, it was originally meant to come out in Rogue One's slot. And Rogue One was meant to be a later thing, but then Lawrence Kasdan ended up working on The Force Awakens, and so this film had to be pushed back. And I feel like if this came out instead of Rogue One, because a lot of people look very fondly on Rogue One for some reason, and I don't understand why. I think it's a shit film, but it's neither here nor there, right? But a lot of people look very fondly on that, and I feel like I think this is a better film if we're comparing the two spin-off films that exist. This is the better one, but I feel like if this had come out first, if this had come out in that 2016 slot at the height of Star Wars, we just had The Force Awakens, and obviously that caused a few issues in the fan base, but it wasn't like we hadn't reached The Last Jedi yet. I feel like if this had come out then, this would have been a much bigger success. I feel like. I don't know. So I don't know what you think about that, but
I can 100% agree. the main thing that hurt the film was Last Jedi. And
yeah,
also,
that's what I mean. It came out too close to Last Jedi.
I'd like to bring up that a majority of the news you ever heard about Solo was all negative, even before Last Jedi.
Yeah.
All of it was like, oh, this director quit, it's lost its lead director, its writer. And you're like, is anything ever going right for this film?
Yeah, I mean, look, let's be honest. It was a bit of a troubled project because with the directors that were on it before, they were making more of a comedy film.
I forgot their names, but they
those guys.
Yeah, they did fucking Lego Movie and also a lot of other things I like. Spider-Verse.
Well, the thing is, it was definitely, with that particular situation, there was definitely a miscommunication somewhere along the line, because what's kind of come out since is, you know, they were saying that they thought they were brought on to make a comedy Star Wars film. That's what they thought they were brought on to do. When what was really the thing was they wanted them just to make a normal Star Wars movie, but just inject a more comedic element into it. I think they were trying to, you know, like just the Marvel type stuff. You know what I mean? Like they wanted to kind of push that. And I think that was just like a big misinterpretation and a big miscommunication of, you know, ideas and different visions. And that's why that all happened. But I think Ron Howard did a fantastic job. He just came in and fucking, I mean, he reshot 80% of the movie. But apparently their film, there was a lot of like improv and shit. And like there was a lot of negative news surrounding Alden Ehrenreich because, you know, there was a lot of things like, you know, a lot of stuff going around that he can't act and that he's really bad in the film.
Yeah, I do remember that.
You know, apparently there was a lot of like improv going on in the film. And I guess maybe improv is probably not one of his strong suits as an actor. I mean, to be fair, improv is hard.
You also probably wouldn't expect to be doing improv going into a Star Wars project.
Into a Star Wars film. Yeah, exactly. So I feel like there was a lot. I mean, that's why I feel like Woody Harrelson was in this movie, because, you know, you get like a comedic actor like Woody Harrelson, who obviously also does serious stuff as well. But like, I feel like there's a lot of that stuff left over in this film as well. Like I don't think this is like a Justice League situation. Like I feel like the Solo we got is a version of the Solo we were going to get, but it's just not like Justice League where it was just like completely shot to shit. You know, it's very much like, well, he's just come in and he's reshot the film and just polished it up a bit and made it, you know, fixed the writing and, you know, well, I don't think there was a lot changed in the writing. I think it was just more, it was just reshooting a lot of the footage because there was a lot of improv going on and things like that, you know, it just didn't cut together. So, obviously he would have added and changed some things, but yeah, it's a good film. I would like to see more of this.
I would.
I'm definitely going to say I want to see a Disney Plus show or, you know, just something. They did actually say, Alden Ehrenreich said that, you know, if he was to do another one, he'd want it to be very different to what this film was.
I would, as much as I like Solo, I would also like that, because I'd imagine if he did another one, it's getting closer to A New Hope. Yeah. And that plays right into what I want, of the evolution of Han. Yeah.
You know, we could like all tell like a big story about how he gets in debt with Jabba. You know, like how does that all happen? Why does he owe Jabba? You know, like and they actually set that up in this film. Like he goes to, like that's where the film ends. He's like, well, let's go to Tatooine. You know, I heard there's like a gangster that has a job going or whatever.
And so you know, maybe we could the Hutt cartel.
Yeah, maybe we could do something with that.
They again got to marry a princess because of that.
I'm kind of hoping he turns up in the Lando show. I really do. If it's live action and it is the Donald Glover version, I feel like it would just make sense to bring him in.
Something we didn't mention is on relation to Lando.
Yes.
Donald Glover's Lando and Alden's Han play very, very well off of each other.
Yeah, there's really great chemistry.
I just want to appreciate the chemistry between those two very quick. And
there's really great chemistry, and you can definitely tell. It's that same. They have a very like, you know, the moment at the end where like Han turns up and, you know, Lando's immediately like, oh, I'm sorry, whatever. And there's just that like standoff moment that's just the exact same moment that's in Empire Strikes Back.
It's exactly like Billy Dee Williams and Harrison Ford's relationship as the characters.
Yeah, it's a very, very well done
and
well done thing.
If the Lando TV series would, or whatever it is, would definitely it'd suffer a little bit without it.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be a good opportunity. I'm looking at Donald Glover's IMDb now, and he doesn't have anything for the Lando show. But that doesn't mean necessarily that wouldn't happen. But he has been announced for the Mr. and Mrs. Smith TV series.
Okay.
I don't know if he's playing a main role in that. Oh, yeah, it stars Donald Glover and Phoebe Waller-Bridge. That's actually a series actually created by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and it's just an adaptation of the 2005 film with Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. So I feel like if he's doing that, I feel like he probably wouldn't do it, but I'm kind of holding out hope that he does. And obviously, Alden Ehrenreich is currently on Brave New World, which is a show that I haven't seen or know really a lot about, but he's like a main lead in that. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I hope we get to see more of this.
Agreed.
I think it'd be cool. But that's all I've really got to say about the film itself. There's not a lot more I want to add.
No, I think we've run through pretty much most of it.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, likewise.
Cool. Well, we'll wrap this up. So that was it. That was Star Wars Day for 2021.
Very classic styled episode for us.
Yeah, it was it? We just fucking winged our way through the whole thing.
Sometimes it's fun to just do that.
Yeah, no, it was definitely an old style episode, which was all good. Nice to do one of those every now and then, just kind of wing it. But yeah, that brings us to the end. So thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And as I said at the start, if you are listening to this on Google, Apple, Spotify, you did enjoy it and you're listening here right now at the end, then leave a positive rating or whatever it is that happens on those platforms, and that's all good. And of course, if you're watching the YouTube version, leave a like. And if you want more episodes of the podcast, we got a back catalogue on all of these platforms, so you can go back and check those out. We talked about many Star Wars things. We talked about the Clone Wars. We talked about Mandalorian. Those are the two things we've talked about.
We've talked about the Mandalorian again.
Yeah, we talked about Mandalorian twice. So,
check that out.
And obviously, there's plenty of more Star Wars coming up. And we also talk about a bunch of other stuff. We got a couple of exciting episodes coming up, Lewin. We've got we're going to do another Edgar Wright episode next. Yes. It's been over a year since our last one.
We would have fast tracked that, but they didn't fast track the movie. So what choice did we have?
I wasn't intending on leaving it this long, but we just other things came up and we just ended up doing it. So I just thought I'd just save it for a rainy day, but. We're going to do Baby Driver next, so we're going to do a bit of a retrospective episode. After that, we should have a Resident Evil Village episode. This will be our first gaming focused episode in a little while.
Yeah. Although I guess...
We did Cyberpunk.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
We did Cyberpunk. We haven't really done a game episode since. We've just been talking about fucking streaming shows and shit.
To be fair, streaming's very much dominated lately.
Yeah, not much has come out in the game space. If you haven't checked out my Resident Evil 3 video, I recently released that, so go and check that one out. That's doing bits. I'm thinking of getting back into streaming again, Lewin, I'm thinking.
Nice.
Because I kind of stopped streaming for a little bit there, but I want to get back into it. I'm currently, because I started streaming through Hitman 2.
Yep, I remember that.
I want to start that again. I'm going to do it a bit differently, though, now. I'm going to stream all on my main channel, and then... Because you know how I just don't want to clog up my channel with streams, and I don't want to clog... Because I don't upload videos often enough.
Yeah.
And I already upload the podcast, and the podcast is the main thing of my video output. So instead of clogging up my channel, that's why I started streaming on the second channel as well, and just did like a chill stream on the main channel every week or every couple of weeks or whatever, and then I'd do regular streams on the second channel. but hasn't quite worked out for me because no one's subscribed to the second channel, so it doesn't really go that well. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do instead is just stream all on the main channel, and then what I'm going to do is like make the videos unlisted, and then I'm going to put them in a playlist on the second channel. So the second channel is going to become more of like a VOD type channel. And then none of it's on my main channel. It's just all going to be there, and then that's where the past streams and stuff will be. And you know, I might even like put like clips and things up on that channel from streams, you know, if like a funny moment happens, because you know, you always like when you're streaming and stuff, something funny might happen or something along those lines, and you're like, oh fuck, I've got to go through the whole stream and find that. And like if you're talking with someone about it and you want to show them, so it's easier just to be like, well, you know, if something funny happens, we could just clip it and then put it on the second channel. So that's my plan anyway.
I wish it the best of luck.
We'll see what happens, because I do enjoy streaming. I had to stop for a little bit just because I've been a bit busy, and I've been trying to do this Resident Evil video and things, and I just can't do everything at once, you know? So yeah, if you do want to see updates on like when I'm streaming and how my videos are going and all that sort of stuff, then yeah, head over there. Links are in the description, as are links to all of the things. Everything is below. But yeah, I think that'll do us for this episode. So yeah, Lewin, take us out.
Thank you very much for listening, everybody, as always. Happy Star Wars Day once again. Hope everyone enjoys Bad Batch tonight. I'm sure it will be great. Have a good week, month, whatever. Adios, people.
I'm gonna go back to playing Star Wars Episode 3 now.